Hey guys, as you can see by the title of this video, it's going to be about transgender issues. Now, I am no expert. I am simply a mom of a transgender daughter who's just trying to figure it out as I go. I don't pretend to have the answers. What I want to do is I want to share what I've gone through, what I've come up with, what we've dealt with, things like that, with other parents that are possibly going through this, because I know when we first started this journey, even though I had looked into this a lot on my own before she officially came out to us, I craved other parents' knowledge. I craved their experiences. I needed to know, how did you deal with this, and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I do these videos. I'm not trying to solve anybody's problems. I just want to share with you how we've handled it as we've gone through it, and hopefully that will help you in some way. So today I want to talk about how being transgender and religion kind of work together. For a lot of people, it is a huge problem. They cannot accept, a gay child or a transgender child, because in the Bible, it says that it's an abomination. Well, the Bible says that a lot of things are abominations. So I don't know, I don't understand why people want to just latch on to being gay or being trans and saying, oh, that's just, no. I don't understand that. Eating shellfish is an abomination. So if you like shrimp, there you go. If you wear, clothes that are woven with two different fabrics, that's an abomination. A lot of things are abominations. But here is this is the point I want to make. You may not agree with me, and that's completely fine. Now, I was fortunate enough, and I say fortunate enough because I believe this helped form me as a human being. When I was in high school, my very best friend was gay. Now, we never spoke about it out loud, and even at that point, I'm not sure he knew. You just kind of knew there was just a little something different. Now, as we grew up and we got older, I realized that he was in a relationship with a man. So I knew, I had always kind of suspected it, but then I knew, even though it had never been spoken out loud. And that is what helped me, because we went to school together. We were best friends. We went and did things, outside of school together. And I had to really question. Before that, I had thought being gay was wrong, in my opinion. We were raised Southern Baptist. We didn't follow it, strictly or anything like that, but we were raised Southern Baptist. And we had been taught, or so I understood, that being gay was wrong. But you weren't wrong unless you acted upon those feelings. That's when you became wrong, is when you acted on those feelings. Now, and in my mind, that was okay. I could, that was as far as it ever went, because I didn't know anybody gay and I didn't have to think about it. Then came along my best friend, and I had to really question, why do I get to tell him, you can't have a life, basically, because these feelings are instinctual. You like somebody through instinct. You don't sit here and go, I think I like that person or that person or that person or that person. No, like, feelings inside your body do that for you. When you were young and those feelings were coming about for you, you didn't sit on your bed and go, do I want to like girls or do I want to like boys? I don't really know. Let me think about it. You didn't think about it. Your body made that decision for you, and you are attracted to a certain kind of person. You're not in control of that. You have no control over who you are attracted to. And I believe that is true for a gay person. They have no control over who their body is attracted to. And so I had to really think hard. Why was I saying that he couldn't have a life based upon the rules that I choose to live by? I don't think that's right. I knew him as a person. He is an amazing person. I love him to death. We're still friends today. He's a good person in every way, shape, fashion, and form. He would give you the shirt off of his back. So why was I saying, why was my religious beliefs saying that, well, you can be gay, but you just can't act upon those feelings? Well, according to the Bible, is even if he has those thoughts, he's wrong. Like if you even think, about, a sin of, you're wrong. Move on 25 years down the road, and I knew that my child was different. I knew it from a very early age. I didn't know what I assumed she was gay, but I didn't know. And I didn't want to bring it up to her in my crazy way of thinking, plant those seeds in her mind. I didn't want to do that and go, and eventually we did say it because we knew without a shadow of a doubt something was, was different. But I didn't want to say, well, if you're gay, we're okay with that. Now, because in my mind, that was going to plant seeds in her mind to say, oh, well, maybe I want to be gay. Because my thinking was just ignorant because I just was not, I did not have the knowledge. And anyway, once she got to a certain point, we knew without a doubt something was going on. She was either gay, and at the time we didn't know the word transgender. All we ever knew was like a transvestite, and that didn't even come into my mind either because I didn't know any of those, so I didn't have anything to compare it to. Now, some years on down the road, we did go to her and say, we do realize that something is going on, and if you're gay, it is okay with us because we could see her struggling. I knew for a long time, and if you saw my first video about this, I was at the point where I was still crying all the time, but I slept with my phone on my pillow every single night because I was pretty sure that I would get a call that she had killed herself because it was that terrible between like whatever she was going through was that terrible for her. It was extremely tough. We didn't know exactly what she was going through, but we knew it was something, and I knew it would at some point. I don't want to cry. I really felt at some point it would cause her to take her life. So that's my point in bringing religion into this, because I think that is why so many parents struggle with this, because your religion says, but it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. Here's my thinking. Now, you can throw this out with a dishwater, I don't care. But here's the way I think, and I've watched many hours of videos, and I will link videos down in the description box for you to watch, so that you can watch some of the stuff that I've watched, so that you can kind of maybe come to understand it better. You don't have to just go off what I'm saying. This is what I believe. Now I'm in a special situation because I happen to have a child who has a genetic disorder. And so I've been through many hours of doctor visits explaining that this was just something that happened in his genetics when he was being formed, blah, 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 blah. So I have a better understanding, I think, than maybe most. But when I look at it, my transgender child and my mentally retarded child, I can see that in my, mentally retarded child, it was a genetic mishap, so to speak. But then we look over here at my transgender daughter and we go, oh, no, she chose that. When I don't understand how we can totally understand how birth defects, millions of different combinations of birth defects happen each and every day in babies that are forming. And we're okay with that. We completely understand it because you can see that. They have no arms, they have no legs, something's wrong with their face. We can see it. Well, with the transgender issue, you don't see it. How it presents itself is that you have a boy who mentally is a girl, or you have a girl who mentally is a boy, and that's hard for us because we've been conditioned that sex is taboo and we just don't talk about it. Well, and this is another thing, when people think of a transgender person or a gay person, your brain automatically goes to a sex act. You don't see this. You don't see them as a human being. Your brain goes, oops, I know how they have sex, or I know who they're having sex with. I don't know why we do that. I don't know why our brains can't go, here's a human that is struggling with something, and I really would like to try to understand it better and not judge them. Well, you may or may not know this. I knew some of it, but I didn't know all of it. In a baby that is forming, up until 10 weeks of gestation, your little embryo is basically default female. Every single person on this earth, that was conceived in that way. You are default female up until about 10 weeks of gestation. At 10 weeks of gestation, your body gets the message that you're either a girl or you are a boy. So your reproductive tract starts to form. Now, this one little mass of tissue forms either a penis or a clitoris. Now, I know this is going to be a little bit difficult for some of you to want to talk about or listen to because we don't talk about sexual things like this. And I'm not talking about sex either. This is just like a biological thing because we don't talk about stuff like this. But we need to talk about stuff like this because if you are going to shun somebody, know why you're shunning them. Know all the facts. So anyway, at 10 weeks of gestation, this little mass of tissue will either form a penis or a clitoris that forms out of the same piece of flesh. They will either form ovaries or testicles formed out of the same piece of flesh. Now, how you can think nothing went wrong. I mean, a baby can be born with no arms and a baby can be born with no legs, but by gosh, nothing happens in that reproductive tract when it's forming. Why do we think that? Why do we not understand that, gosh, how this one little piece of meat here either becomes this or it becomes this, and nothing goes wrong in the middle of that happening. At 10 weeks of gestation, the baby becomes female or male. Now, that is not it is not completely done. It is not until around 27 weeks of gestation that the brain becomes masculinized. So that's how you can have a baby that has a male reproductive tract and a female brain, because his body didn't get that second message for his brain to masculinize. So to me, this is it makes perfect sense because I have another child who I can see, the genetic mishap, that happened. It presents itself in him every single day. And why we cannot think that same thing happens with our gay and our transgender people, I don't know. And I'm not saying, I don't want to act like I'm saying, oh, they're, they have a defect or they're not, normal or whatever. But we know as a whole, they're not normal. They're different. To me, when you say, oh no, I cannot understand why a gay person chooses that life or a transgender person chooses that life, that's like you saying, I don't know why that little boy chooses to be retarded. I just don't get it. I don't agree with it because he chose that. That's what you're saying to your gay and trans community. They didn't choose it. They have no control over how their body is acting. I believe that the Bible doesn't speak very much on it because it didn't, the people then that were writing the Bible didn't understand it. They had no clue how genetics worked in our bodies. We still are not completely sure how it works. So of course they didn't understand. And there were, it's written about in the Bible because gay people were back then too. Transgender people were back then too. I mean, there was a word I found the other day in my research, for all this, that I've never heard that word before in my life. And I can't think of what it is right this minute, but I'll try to put it on the screen here. And I asked my transgender daughter if she knew about it. She knew exactly what the word was. She knew how to pronounce it correctly. And she told me what it was. They're mentioned in the Bible. People just weren't aware back then of how genetics worked in our bodies. We're learning more each and every day how all these genetics do play a part in our bodies, and it plays a part in who we are. I've done so much research, guys. I'll link these videos below, but I watched one on a chimera twin. This lady, tested that she wasn't, the mother of her children. And, but she was like, I am the mother of these kids. You don't understand. I am these kids' mother. And the court system, because she had filed for welfare, was going to take her kids from her. They learned much later on down the road that she is, I don't know how you want to say it. She's a chimera. She, when the little eggs were forming, 2 babies formed. And within, I think it's the first 4 days of conception, they became one. So she was actually 2 people, and that's why her kids, she didn't test as the mother of her kids. So do you see how things can happen that we have it's just crazy. Another chimera, which the person happens to be here in Texas, they on the outside of their body, they are African American colored on one side, and then they are lighter, not white, but they are lighter colored. It's like they were 2 bodies stuck together. And they learned that is what had happened. It was a girl twin and a boy twin that merged in the first 4 days of conception, or for the first 4 days after conception. So they have this person that as a chimera, but they are hermaphrodite because it was a boy twin and a girl twin that had merged. In the lady, it was 2 girl twins that had merged. had she not signed up for welfare and had been tested, she would have never known that she didn't match her kid's DNA. Like, people, the court was telling her, man, you are not these kids' mom. So do you see the things that can happen when our bodies are forming? So many different things can happen. And how can we sit here as moms and dads of these, transgender or gay people and say, I love you, but only if you live by my rules, and that I've chosen to follow, in my religion. I don't understand that. You're saying, they have no control over it. I mean, I don't know if what you've witnessed. I know what I've witnessed. It was a struggle. She cried. I don't even know how to express to you how difficult this path was for us. She described this to me. I'm not going to get into it, very detailed, because I will start crying. I had said I thought I would get a call about her committing suicide, and I did get a call one night, but it was her, and she was asking me to give her a reason not to kill herself. And so anyway, when we got into it and we were talking about it, she said to me, Mom, it felt like I was holding this huge boulder above my head, and that boulder was being gay and or transgender, because at the time we didn't understand that it was, we didn't know what transgender was. But anyway, she said it was being gay, and I was at a point where either I was going to have to lay that rock down, because I had been praying for God to help me hold this rock. Please help me hold this rock. Please, Lord, help me hold this rock. Please make me not be gay. Please make me not have these feelings. Please help me not have these feelings. And it wasn't working. It doesn't work that way, people. In every facet of life, some prayers don't get answered. That is one of them. You won't pray this away. You will not make this go away. You can't pray it hard. If you pray hard enough, or if you pray the right way, it's not going to change. People die each and every day that we pray for them not to die. Babies die every single day that we pray, Lord, please don't take our babies from us. And it happens anyway. That is what is happening in this case too. She said, God didn't help her hold the boulder, so she was going to have to lay it down. And for her, laying it down was telling that she was gay. And she didn't want to. She did not want to be. She didn't want to be gay. She wanted to be anything but gay. And so do you see the struggle and where she was coming from? And for people to still think it's a choice that she was choosing that, who wouldn't go, I'm not going to choose that gay because it's way too hard. We live in the deep South. It's extremely hard here for something like that, because it's the Bible Belt, and people think of it as, oh, you're wrong. You're going to hell. That's an abomination. When they have this body that they are not in control of. Genetics made their body, male, female, whatever it is, to appear on the outside, but inside it doesn't feel that way to them. So not only are they walking around in a body that they feel like doesn't belong to them, it's doing what it's supposed to. If it's a girl, it's attracted to boys. Well, on the outside they look like a boy, but they're attracted to girls. What is that? They have no control over it, just like you have no control over it. You are attracted to whatever you're attracted to. And saying to them that you can't have a life, like you can be gay, but don't act upon those feelings, that's what makes you wrong. That is so wrong. You're saying you cannot have the basic desires of life, which is human interaction. And I think that's crazy. You cannot tell somebody, they'd be like you saying, me saying to you, well, you can never have a boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever you are. You can never have that. You can never have a relationship with anybody. You can never have sex with anybody. You cannot have that. Well, that is a basic instinct, and we all crave it, every single one of us. And because they are gay or trans, we give them a hard time over saying, but you can't have that, because by our rule book, that's wrong. Guys, I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel the way, like you shouldn't follow your heart about the Bible, but I want you to understand that it was written in a time where the people did not understand how genetics worked in our bodies. They had no understanding. I know I've talked about some things, and I can talk about every bit of it. I don't have a problem with it. In the Bible, it talks about how a man shouldn't lay with a woman when she's on her period. Now, we know that means he shouldn't have sex with her. I'm not sure what married couple on earth hasn't done that at some point in their marriage. We've all done it. It was written like that in the Bible because let's face it, guys, they lived in a time where they didn't have a shower. They couldn't bathe, daily. They didn't take care of themselves in the same way that we do now. So do you see how things that were written about in a time it was a different time, but we understand now that there's so much more to it, that it is a genetic issue. It is not a choice issue ever. It is how their bodies were made, and we need to love them exactly how they were made. God doesn't make mistakes. These people are exactly who God meant for them to be. Do genetic mishaps happen? You bet they do. Each and every day. We are fully aware of that. And they happened in our gay and our trans community. They are born exactly how they were made. They're not making a choice. This is who they are, and I think we need to love them for exactly who they are, and not say, I can love you, but only on my terms. That's not fair. That is not fair at all. I don't know if I've made a good point here today, guys. I get so passionate about this. I'm scared I'll lose my train of thought. I probably should make myself some notes, but I hope I've made a good point here today. If I haven't, I'll make another video about it. But you can be for sure I will be making more videos, because this is a very passionate topic for me. I know that a lot of people are struggling with it. I know a lot of parents, just don't know. Oh my gosh, it is so overwhelming. I know. I will, like I said, link the videos down below that I've watched, some of them that have really helped me to come to a better understanding. And I hope, guys, that you can make peace with it. I hope you can learn to love your child for exactly who they are. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll talk to you later.